Here we go on a beautiful Tuesday with Deb Lambert, the garden author, Corliss Brothers on Route 133 in Ipswich. And Deb, what are our plants of the week this week?
The plants of the week are hydrangeas, every type of hydrangea you can possibly think of. We are not going to feature, although having said that, we're not going to feature what we call a winter hydrangea or panicle hydrangeas because they're not really showing color yet. They come along a bit later, and we will have another show dedicated to them later on when they're in their prime. But the hydrangeas that are showing the most color right now, of course, are the Endless Summer series, the Blushing Bride, just so many beautiful varieties, and also the lace cap types. Now, when we talk about the types of flowers, probably it's good to come over here and take a quick look. And this is probably a more familiar shape to a hydrangea blossom to many folks that are growing either the pink or the blue. And these nice round heads here are reminiscent of the old Nico blue hydrangeas, which are not hardy for us in this area. And so these are much better choices. The newer hybrids are still what are referred to as macrophylla, hydrangea macrophylla. But the new hybrids bloom on new and old wood. So should you lose a few buds over the winter, all is not lost because the new wood that comes along will also be blossoms. So we are seeing a nice production of blooms on plants like this. Moving over here, we have a lace cap. This is also macrophylla, but it's a lace cap type hydrangea. This one happens to be called Blue Wave. And so these have the very small florets in the middle surrounded by the large sterile flowers as they develop. This one over here is probably a pretty one to look at. And there are any number of hydrangeas in that series. There's Twist and Shout, which I happen to have. That one is up over in the back there, over in the corner. That's a Twist and Shout. And that can be very much regulated, the color on most of these hydrangeas. If you care for them in blue more than you do in pink, then you acidify the soil. And by using something like Hollytone on a regular basis, you can keep the soil in a pretty even keel as far as being acid enough to keep a blue color. However, all is not lost if you don't have it. If you have it turning more of a purplish or a plum color, and you want to deepen the color, then you use something like aluminum sulfate. And we do a little interview today. I'm going to talk a little more about that. But that really is a point that needs to be made because you can absolutely adjust the color of these. And if they are pink to start with, you can make them more intensely pink by sweetening the soil. So it's a matter of acidifying or sweetening to get the desired color. And you can do that over a period of several weeks till you get the desired color. So all is not lost if you have one that's kind of washed out purple and not exactly what you were looking for. But these are great hydrangeas, the macrophylla series. And there are different series in here as well. There's another hydrangea. I didn't bring the white one over, but there is something arborescens, hydrangea arborescens, and this happens to be a nice pink one, very pretty pink. White is probably a little more familiar to people. Now this is another series altogether. These are actually pruned back very hard in the fall. They come up and flower in new wood again, so you don't have to worry about losing buds over the winter with these. They're very hardy, very nice to care for, very easy. And you can see more of an open habit, more kind of free form. Nice near a wall where they can kind of cascade down. And the white Annabelle is a handsome plant as well. But there are some great hydrangeas and great color to be had this time of year. And some of them just so very intense in their color. This is a new one to me this year. It's called Together. Very pretty, very handsome. And I kind of, in my garden, I don't overly adjust the color if it's coming out sort of in between a lavender or a plum color, and I like the color, I kind of leave them there. That's what my soil is at for a pH, and that's what I'm going to produce for flowers. And if I'm happy with it, I don't adjust them and find they do quite well. Now, my Twist and Shout, evidently I'm acid enough because my Twist and Shout is actually quite a nice blue. It's a real intense blue. But it's really neat to kind of adjust the soil pH and see where you're going to go with these plants. But they're hardy, they're wonderful, and again, they bloom on new and old wood, which is really important for us here in New England because we have some pretty harsh winters. So they're a good answer to the old Nico blue hydrangeas.
Okay, so that's it for our plants of the week. And again, Deb, how do we get a hold of Garden Author?
That would be by going to GardenAuthor.com and scrolling down to the bottom of the page, clicking on the email button, and the form will pop up, and just let me know your name and phone number in case for some reason the email doesn't work, and we'll set you all up with a free subscription to the newsletter. And people have been doing so very much the last couple of weeks.
Excellent. Garden Author Deb Lambert with more stuff online. I'm Rick Moore.